G/F of 6 years selfishly throws it all away in the name of survival. My girlfriend of 6 years cheated on me again, and I am more angry than hurt. I'm not sure what I should do either. I'm sorry that this will likely be long and somewhat rambling as I'm making sense of everything. I also apologize for my writing, as I don't post much, and I'm not a huge writer as ADHD limits my attention span. I'm on mobile as well. There is also so much more detail that I left out to shorten it up as much as possible. I suppose some background would help. We first met on the internet about a year after moving to help my grandma live out the rest of her time here. We chatted and video called each other daily. We had an amazing connection. She told she was going through a divorce and was separated from her ex. I had my reservations, but didn't think too much about them as the divorce was pretty much final. We then started dating a few weeks after meeting and had a blast getting to know each other. She suffered through losing custody of her child in the divorce. A whole different story of family betraying family in court. I was there for her through the entire mess, especially when she had breakdowns and fainted. We also made some wonderful memories that I will never forget. Then came the arguments where it got a little heated. Once it ended up with her leaving with a fistful of knives and me calling police to find her. The idea of her hurting herself twisted my stomach in knots. I've never felt so helpless. The arguments hit a crescendo when we went to our friend's house and she parked the wrong way on the street. No reason to do so either. Open street. She parked legally first, then turned around and parked the wrong way on the street. An argument over the legality started and get really intense. I left the truck and went to hang out with my friends. 5 minutes later, I get a message that she's leaving soon and I better come or find a ride. It was a silent ride back, but the argument soon ensued after we got home. We ended up breaking up and I called my awesome dad, and he came to help me move my stuff. A lot of things were said both by her and I that shouldn't have been. She was mad and confused that I left, but wouldn't realize that as she left she packed a few things up into her truck and peeled out, flipping me off. She talked and acted as if she wanted me gone. I was hurt by all of what happened. So much, and this will get so much longer in the months before, and probably didn't act rationally. We didn't talk much after I left the apartment. Eventually we got in contact again and start talking regularly again. Now there's another woman in the picture. She's bi, and I didn't think too much of this until we all hang out. I may as well have been a ghost. I was just there. We all hung out and it was weird, as if her and I were together. She was with this other girl, and other girl had a boyfriend. I remember driving home from hanging out crying a few times. Something was really hurting me. She ended up without a place to live, and I stayed in a tent for a while with her. She left one night and her behavior was off. She was disconnected. A few nights later she was asleep next to me as her phone was blowing up. I checked her phone to make sure there wasn't some emergency and found out she had a threesome with them. I called her out on it, and there wasn't much an argument. She wouldn't look at me as I ranted. We ended up moving on and were together and happy for a while when she started getting angry with me again. She admittedly would argue with me in the morning to wind me up. She was very short with me, which started lots of arguments. Anytime that I would bring up an issue I'm seeing in the relationship, it would start an argument, and it was always my fault. After a bit of seeing possible issue, try to talk to her about it, then argue. I would stop talking to her for days, sometimes weeks. I know this was wrong, but at the time, I had no idea what else to do. We were still together when she had another crisis. She was fired from a job. That night, she got suicidal and threatened to take a bunch of pills and not wake up, and good luck on finding her. So I called the local sheriff and tell them what's going on. I didn't hear anything in the morning until she contacted me saying she was still alive, didn't know how, and all her pills were gone. As soon as we got off the phone, I updated the sheriff. Long story short, they pulled her over, detained her, and called me to take guardianship over her or send her to the mental hospital. I drove to get her and got a hotel for a couple days until we could figure out housing for her. She ended up at her male co-worker's house, couch surfing. Well, it wasn't the only thing she was surfing. Eventually, it came to light as the signs were there, and her conscience finally surfaced. She was in 2 relationships. After some time, we healed and were still together. Little did I know that bailing her out of the hospital was the first in a long line of bailouts from her short-sighted decision-making. So much drama was created by her and helped out of it by me. So many horrible financial decisions that I bailed her out of at great cost to me. I'm about 4 years behind in life and retirement funding due to this. I do this all because I love her deeply and see a future with her. I thought she was the one. I loved her so deeply and she taught me so much. My life has definitely improved in some ways to her credit. So many firsts in life and a lot of great memories. Her daughter and I also developed a father/daughter relationship. She called me dad on her own, and the day that little girl told me she loves me, I cried and had to go hug them both. It still makes me tear up. I have no kids, but thought of her as my own. She was still living in the camper, and it wasn't great. She let a friend move in that she wanted to help. Admirable, but I told her that she really needs to work on herself for her daughter, and that's all. We wanted to get back to where we once were before we first broke up. Our own place, her daughter back living with us, and us doing the family thing again. Suddenly, she gets into an argument with her parents and it's off to Oregon for her to move into some guy's house that she's been friends with. I helped pay for that trip and other living expenses as she lived there. She supposedly had a job lined up, but he ended up paying thousands in repairs to her vehicle. I'm not totally sure what happened while she was there as I am now questioning everything. Things eventually went south, and she came back to the camper. I paid for her food, fuel, and whatnot. She then let another friend move in that she wanted to help, but it ended up with them living in a car in their new job's parking lot. I also paid for their food and fuel nightly. Helped get her truck towed when the engine died. She then moved back into the camper, now with 2 other people. It was far from perfect, and she was 2 hours away from her job with no reliable transportation. I tried to tell her to stop smoking weed and find a new job, but never got a closer job. A few months ago, a person from her past came back, and she found out her ex died about a year before. She was gutted, and I tried to be there for her as much as possible. This person was her ex's adult daughter. My G/F just wanted to be there for her and go and see her old friends. In the back of my mind, I kept thinking that she was never there for me like that for my uncle, friend, or grandmother. I tried not to think much of it until the red flags started popping up again. She talked about her ex's daughter a lot, handing out a lot, and suddenly a password on her phone, and it was strange. As one could imagine, I have lingering trust issues with her. So I confronted her with my feelings on the situation and asked her what her intentions were / did she have feelings for him? I couldn't get a straight answer. A few weeks later, she suddenly moves to her ex's daughter's place. I can understand living in a camper with lazy, messy canoes, but that was her doing. I was sketched out about it and had a feeling something was up. I tried to talk to her about it, but it was quickly dismissed. My G/F got a decent job and seemed to be doing well. I was still helping foot the bill until after her first paycheck. One night I get a call from my G/F, angry and emotional, telling me that she's got to come back but has nowhere to go. Eventually she tells me she has one option, but I'll hate it. She could stay with the guy she cheated on me with after her suicide attempt, the male co-worker from earlier. I asked her to not talk to him anymore a long time ago as I was very uncomfortable with it. She never did stop. She eventually leaves her ex's daughters and supposedly is staying in her car, but barely talking to me. It started to seem all too familiar, but I had no solid evidence to back up my feelings. Well, 5 days ago I received a call from her ex's daughter telling me her side of the story. I was told that they were dating and had sex, and that she's still talking to the guy she cheated on me with and taking money from him as well. I told her to send me any screenshots of texts that would validate the claims. I received over a dozen quite incriminating texts and images. I was devastated. I had what seems like a 2-hour-long panic attack. I was lost, could barely think straight. So I just asked her, when were you gonna tell me? I then confronted her with the knowledge and evidence, and she denied it with some pretty wild claims about ex's daughter. After work, we had a video call, and she finally didn't deny the claims. Also, she admitted to staying with the guy she cheated on me with. Her reason was, she did it to survive and didn't want to hurt me, but to push me away so she wouldn't hurt me anymore. I didn't hear any of it and called her out on her decision-making, calling into question her feelings for me, and just letting raw feelings and thoughts flow. I told her that we're not together anymore, and she started crying, saying that she loved me and didn't want to lose me, blah blah blah. It didn't matter. I was done worrying about her. Now we're here, the present, 5 days on from the breakup. I still haven't cut contact as I have a cell phone under her plan. My name is not on it, and I'm not sure what to do. She says she's not with him, but now she wears makeup and dresses up more, something she hasn't done for a while in our relationship. She says he holds her to a higher standard. She still contacts me somewhat regularly. When he's not around, sends me pictures of her all done up. It makes me think, why wouldn't she do that for me? I asked her that, and she says she's trying to be a better person for me. I asked her how he likes having a trainee G/F. She swears she's not with him, but I just don't believe it. I know I should cut her off, give her back the phone, and just move on, but part of me doesn't want to let go. I loved her so much, gave her my all, gave her more chances, and bailed her out of her dumb decisions than anyone, and this is what I got. I don't think a reconciliation will happen as my trust and respect in her are gone. When we talk about what happened, I'm not nice. I'm blunt about what I think of her actions. The biggest hurt I have is that I'll never see my stepdaughter again. And that's a pain that's hard to process. I really don't know what to do. So there you have it, guys. If you need more videos like these on Deep Turkish Confessions, then smash that like button and subscribe now and stay tuned for more videos like these.